anybody can make money in the industry if you put your mind to it and do what you do. But for me, it's about two things, right? Our number one core value is family. That's we're passionate, and passion's one of them. So I'm glad you said passion, because passion's one of them. But for me, family, serving families, right?
Right.
Helping people achieve home ownership. When I first started in 2002, 2003, and I was able to help people in situations of need, that's when I realized this is my calling. This is what I need to do. I literally, I remember, back then, a lot of it was helping people with decades.
Hey, I'm Richard Smith. Welcome to Loan Officer Growth Podcast, the podcast that helps loan officers grow their business, increase their income, and have more freedom. I am excited today. We have Devin Dubuc on, and he is one awesome guy. He's outside of Dallas, or you're in Dallas, Texas, right, Devin?
Our office is in Addison, Texas, which is right, they're in the center of
Right.
the DFW. And, I live in Salina, Texas, just a little north of the DFW.
Yeah, it's kind of like Houston. There's so many different neighborhood and areas and small towns wrapped around it. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you
Devin is
don't know
with
where
Click and
where where
Close.
it ends and begins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Why don't you tell us about yourself, how you got started in the biz and all of that good stuff?
Absolutely. Well, Richard, first off, I want to say thanks for having me on the show, brother. You're a coach and mentor of ours, and big part of the successes that we have had comes from the mortgage marketing animals. So I want to give a shout out to you guys and what you do, and you especially, Coach. I know you've got a lot of great services you offer from your coaching, right, which is fantastic. But also, you've got the Richard Smith list, which is how we get a lot of our qualified agents. And that's been fantastic, especially for our team members that are in states where it's tough to find a qualified list. You know how to do it, brother. So, hats off to you for that. And
Thanks.
then you've also got the VA service. So, brother, you're doing some really great things out there. And I know you don't always get the acknowledgement. It's your show, but today I'm going to give you a little accreditation too. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, for everything you do, brother. Yeah. So where did I get my start? I'm from Salina, Kansas originally, and if you guys were listening close, you heard I live in Salina, Texas. That's not a mistake. I do live out here in a similar city name. I moved out to Dallas in 2000 and found my way into the mortgage industry in 2002, 2003 ish, right back when you didn't have to have a license, just
Yep.
had to have some education. And I started with a company called Dallas Home Loans. No experience at all, just sales in general. I was always good in sales, and I excelled really quick. I got in there, was instantly within a couple months closing 8 to 12 loans a month, and they said, "Hey, you're amazing at what you're doing for somebody that doesn't have experience. We want you to run a team." So I started running a team as early as 2003, and had great success with that. I had a really good process for how we did things. I was in the refi business at the time. I wasn't on the purchase side really. And I mean, obviously, you're going to get a purchase or two here and there, but when you're focused on refis, that's what you see.
Right.
We did a lot of direct mail for Dallas Home Loans, so we had customers coming to us. And if you remember Richard, which you probably do, in 2003, 2004, 2005, that was a refi boom, and that's because rates were at a great 6.5% interest, right? That
Yep.
was pinnacle rates, right? In a day and time right now where a lot of people are scared about rates. 6.5 was an amazing rate back in 2003. And here
Yeah.
we are in the sevens and sixes and people are scared, but we can cover that later. So got in, did a lot of that, a lot of subprime business back then, and built my name and reputation. Eventually, became the president of Dallas Home Loans, and we rode that all the way out until 2008. And as you probably remember, again, not a great time in mortgage. There's
Yep.
a big subprime cash, not a great time for our economy. And I rode that out. I eventually transitioned over to Supreme Lending, ran a small branch for them for quite some time, still working on refinances. And then that pushed me forward into 2013. made that switch over here to Click and Close. We were Mid America Mortgage at the time, and I've run branches really ever since 2005. Is when I got promoted up to president at Dallas Home Loans. So it's always been team atmosphere. I've always been the guy that coaches people on how to have success in any market. And brother, that's what I love about the marketing animals is. Here we are in a really interesting market, and I come from a side of the business that had nothing to do with retail and direct to consumer through agents. And we've adapted that model and we're flourishing and loving every minute of it.
Love it. Love it. So you're very passionate in your job and what you do. What do you love the most about what you do?
That's awesome. I love that you asked that question, Richard. It's such a good question, and I think a lot of people, they get into businesses like this for the wrong reason. They want to make a quick buck, and you can do that, right? Anybody can make money in the industry if you put your mind to it and do what you do. But for me, it's about two things, right? Our number one core value is family. That's we're passionate, and passion's one of them. So I'm glad you said passion because passion's one of them. But for me, family, serving families, right?
Right.
Helping people achieve home ownership. When I first started in 2002, 2003, and I was able to help people in situations of need, that's when I realized this is my calling. This is what I need to do. I literally, I remember, back then, a lot of it was helping people with debt consolidation. And, they were in a lot of financial turmoil and allowing for them to take some debt equity from their home and pay off some of that debt. And then, utilize that to fix their credit and have long-term success with their finances. That's what started me. I'll tell you where it is now. It's shifted a little bit because you're always going to have that, but I sit in a little different position today. It's helping the people underneath me, my work family, find the best versions of themselves and helping them to create successes that they didn't even know they could do. Right. So we're still serving those families, but now I can serve more families because I've got
Yeah.
more people underneath me and I can teach and coach and mentor them to being, to finding their best selves. And that's what my passion is helping other people. I love to help people.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so I would say a little bit about a year ago, you guys were 100% refi and you pivoted really quick. And now you guys are what? Large majority is purchase. Is it
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
how did you pivot? Like what was that thought process? What plans did you put together? Like how did you make such an awesome change so quickly and have so much success,
Yeah.
with your results now?
Another amazing question. And you're correct. 100% refi shop. We had a purchase here and there, kind of like we did back in 03, 04, 5,
Right.
all the way up through. You're gonna fall into purchases throughout that process. You've got customers you've done refinances for, now they want to buy another house, and you're there because they had such a great experience last time. So 100% refi, and or 90% refi uh, a year ago.
Right.
And I say it all the time, it wasn't until about June, July of 2022, we realized we got fired, right? Our job didn't exist anymore, right? And we hadn't caught up to it because we were still in have great success in January, February, March. We were still closing 250 loans a month. And
Right.
so we hadn't hit that decline yet. And then we wake up in June and we go, wait, where'd the pipeline go, right? We've got closings this month, but July's not looking so friendly. And a gentleman who you know really well, you coached him, David Nguyen, had come to me at the time and said, "Hey, I've been watching these guys, the mortgage marketing animals, and I think they've got a pretty awesome plan. I would love for you to listen to a Breakfast Club and take a call with their home office." And I did that. And I was looking for solutions. I heard what you guys were doing, and I've always been a processes guy. To me, if you show me a process, I'll make it work. And I'll do whatever it takes to make that process happen. Right. I take action. I think a lot of people, the biggest issues that most people have in this industry, and I don't think just this industry, just in general, with creating success, they don't take action.
Right.
And so I took the call. I literally said right then and there, sign me up. Let's become. I took on at the time a few different Freedom Club memberships, one for me, one for David because he introduced us to the marketing animals. And at the time, I had another loan officer that was working for me who'd been doing retail and was starting to struggle with it. And I thought, man, maybe if I can get her some great advice, she can pivot and change the way that she's been doing things as well. So, I'll be honest with you. We immersed ourselves in the daily success plan. And some people may ask, what's the daily success plan? Well, I'd love to tell you, you're going to figure it out overnight. It doesn't happen quite like that. You
Right.
learn bits and pieces as you go, but the general principles are there. And if you can follow instructions, and if you're able to take your humble hat off and just do what you're supposed to do, you're going to find great success with it. What is that, right? So, what the Mortgage Marketing Animals has provided is a success plan that allows for you to know what activity you're going to do every day. We talk about your qualified agent list. Well, it starts with a qualified agent list. A lot of loan officers out there, they make the mistake of calling the wrong agents. And
Oh,
it's not their fault.
exactly.
Nobody
Yeah.
taught them. Yeah. Nobody told them, hey, there's a list of agents over here that they'll do loans from time to time, but there's lists of agents that are doing business every day and they're still having success right now. Those are the ones that you probably want to surround yourself with, because they actually have more business to offer. So we started with a qualified list. And then once we have that qualified list, we start making our phone calls. We call it Thor's Hammer, right? So that's every Monday, and we do it every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We call a group of agents that we see are qualified out there doing good things, and we try to create a relationship with them, right? And that doesn't happen overnight. You've got
Right.
to show them that you're not going to make a couple of phone calls and drop off. So we call them consistently every week, and we just invite them to coffee, right? It's just about, hey, we'd love to create a relationship with you. And we hear it all the time. I already have a lender. Of course you do. Great agents have great lenders. That's why you're great at what you do. We just want to meet with you and share some ideas, right? Get 15 minutes, learn more about your process. What we've always found is that if we're surrounding ourselves with successful people, it just makes us more successful, right? How's Thursday sound? And that's where it all starts, is that initial coffee appointment, and
Yeah.
then from there we have the appointment, and then we have our post coffee follow-ups, but we follow up with people consistently. I think what made it easier for us to do that, Richard, is we were a call center. So we were used to making phone calls,
Right.
and it wasn't difficult to get the buy-in on making the calls. Now, I think the bigger problem is, how do you develop relationships? We weren't used to that, right? And that's where the Mortgage Marketing Analysts really helped us through that process. And how do you create those relationships? It's the consistent follow-up after those coffee appointments. What do you do on Tuesday? Well, we call all of our borrowers that we have. And then when we're sharing those borrowers with an agent, we call those agents and we give them updates and let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we call the listing agents and we give them updates so that the buyer's agent doesn't have to do that. What we found, and you guys taught us this, is that the buyer's agent typically is command center when a loan gets started, right?
Exactly.
They're doing everything, and they're trying to track down the loan officer because the loan officer's not always picking up the phone. The listing agent's calling them. They're talking to the title company. They're trying to coordinate everything, and they've got to create new business relationships themselves, right? So what if you take that away from them and you go, hey, guess what? Every Tuesday, not only are we going to call the borrower, but we're going to call you, and then we're going to call the listing agent, and then we're going to call the insurance company, and then we're going to call the title company, and we're going to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. That way you can stay out there focused on selling. Well, man, let me tell you something, brother. That certainly helps create relationships,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then the big one, the past customer database relationships. You say we're mainly purchase. We are. We still do a fair amount of refinances. I know that Greg Borg has been getting a lot of FaceTime with you guys because of his processes there. And let me tell you something, we're seeing a lot of that same success. Two of my top teams have 4 or 5 cash out refis this month. And how do they get those? Well, we call our past customer database every Wednesday. We do it a little different. You guys say call 2 letters of the alphabet every Wednesday for 13 weeks and then recycle. Because I've built a CRM system that tells us who we haven't called in the last 13 weeks,
Right.
we just take the total of all of our past customers, divide it out by 13 weeks. We make that many phone calls every single Wednesday. And because we do that, we call every customer once a quarter. And when we make those calls, Richard, we don't ask for business. We do, but it's mainly a gratitude call. Thank you, Richard. We appreciate your business. We really appreciate you doing business with us. And, we'd love to help you with anything that you might need. How's life been? How you loving the house? And but we end every one of those calls with the same thing. It's our 3x3. It's, do you have any friends, family, or coworkers that are in the market to buy, sell, or refinance? And that's you guys. You guys taught us all this stuff, right? You know all
Yep.
this. And then Thursdays are pal calls. And that's what we're doing right now. In fact, while you and I are talking, my entire team is on Call Stars.
Yep.
They've got a Zoom call going. Their phones are mute or their Zoom is muted, and they're all making phone calls and holding each other accountable to follow up with the borrowers that we've got pre-qualified to get them excited about getting back out in the market. And they're also looking for 3x3 referrals. And then they're calling their agents and they're updating them as to what borrowers are getting ready to get out in the market. And then we end every agent call with, hey, who do you have right now that we can help you get
Right.
pre-qualified? We want to make sure it's a good use of your time. Hey, no worries, you don't have anybody right now. Can we count on you for that next buy side transaction when you do? Right. So the implementation of this, it's you got to take a piece of it every single week and push yourself forward for it. You got to listen to podcasts like Richard's here, Carl White's, Steve Kyle's, Frank Gray's.
Yep.
These are going to give you the tools and techniques that you need. And it's for me, it's education. Every time I jump on one of these podcasts, I'm learning something new, or I'm just re-educating myself something so that the next time that comes up, I'm prepared for that situation. You got to get on the Breakfast Club call in the morning. You got to do it. It's just part of it. It's a great way to start the day. You're there every day, Richard. I see you.
Yep.
I'm there every day, and it's all of our best friends out there that are having great success. So that's how you pivot. You pivot by taking the plan seriously and executing.
Love it. Love it. So what's your team look like?
Again, a great question. So, and it's changed, right? It's changed. So, when we reversed this thing back a year ago, I had 87 employees. We're down to 27, right?
Wow.
And why is that? Well, not everybody's going to be able to do what we do here. You've got some people that just, they got that comfort level of the phone calls are coming to me, and that's the way that I do business. And we have no problems with those folks. At the end of the day, they were great. They did great things for us when they were here. But as we know, there's on ramps and there's off ramps,
Right.
right? People get on and they get off, and some of those people may come back around at some point in time. But where we are today, we've got 11 loan officers. We've got 3 shared pre-approval specialists. We've got 2 dedicated pre-approval specialists. We have a client concierge desk. We have 3 back-end loan processors. We've got an account executive. And then we've got the person that's managing our processors to make sure that our loans are moving through
Right.
efficiently and meeting turnaround times. And each one of those people has a very specific role. Our client concierge desk is there to answer phone calls when our loan officers right now, when they're on call stars, they can roll their phones over to client concierge. That way, if a customer or family calls in and needs assistance, somebody's going to answer that phone and they're going to get them to the right place, even though our loan officers are busy working, right? That client concierge desk is also there to help set up consultations or mortgage refreshes. That way, when a loan officer on my team needs to get back on the phone to update a customer with, what their current scenario looks like, they can set up a 30-minute consultation. They just hit an action within my CRM. Emails go out. It sends it into a queue, and my client concierge desk sets that up for a consultation or a mortgage refresh. The pre-approval specialist, when a loan officer on my team has a application that comes in, they'll take the initial phone call when they get the lead from the agent. They'll either take a manual application or they'll use our click and close blend software to have the consumer complete that. They'll fill out the pre-approval specialist submission form in Velocify, which is about 5-6 questions. And then they action that in the CRM, and the pre-approval specialist gets an email letting them know, and it goes into a queue, letting them know they've got a loan that they need to work up to get pre-qualified. So my loan officers can stay selling while my
Right.
pre-approval specialists are out there getting their loans qualified, running them through DU, truing up the income, tracking down the documentation, right? Getting that loan prepared for the consultation. And even after the consultation, if we're still missing documents, that pre-approval specialist team is tracking down the documents on their behalf. So when that contract comes in, we're ready. We're ready to go. When the contract comes in, the loan officer does the same thing. They'll action that the contract's been received in our CRM, goes into a queue for our PAS team, letting them know that we've got a contract in. And now they spring to action. They get that loan set up for submission into processing. And then they'll also schedule a mortgage refresh so our loan officer can go back over the terms with the borrower, make sure that everything's understood, T's are crossed, I's are dotted. And then our processing team takes it from contract to close. So that's our team. And I can't forget, because I've got two people in there that are not pre-approval specialists or processors, but they do so much for me. And that's Jennifer Rodriguez. She's my office manager and personal assistant. She keeps it all together for me, right? We all
Awesome.
have to have those people, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I've got Dana Harris, who, she manages my financial side. She makes sure we're not spending too much money. She crosses my T's and dots my I's and tells me when I'm getting a little stupid with the cash. So
Yep. Awesome.
that's it. That's the team.
So I'm going to put a
Oh,
plug in for you. So let's say I'm a loan officer, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, man, I could just plug into your team and sell and increase my business fast. How would they get a hold of you to do like a quick strategy call?
yeah. So I've got several different ways to do that. The quickest is just go to the Dubucteam.com, the Dubucteam.com, THEDUBUC TEAM.com.
Yep.
And they can go to the careers page and they can actually book an appointment right there on that careers page. They can also hear some testimonials from the people we do business with. And they can listen to podcasts if they want to know more about our process. Because all that stuff is right there on the website. We do, or I do, a 15-minute one-on-one, or they can get on for a Wednesday group call where we have multiple people that are interested in coming onto the team, and we're talking about our process, and we will walk them through our 90-day plan.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to have to, we're out of time today, but we're definitely going to have to do another call, another podcast with you on it, man. Cause we didn't talk about your podcast. There's so much we didn't talk about, but let me
Yeah.
ask you this to kind of end this one. What words of encouragement do you have for loan officers out there right now? Because things are tough, but again, there's people like you having extremely great success. But so what words of encouragement would you have for LOs right now?
I'm gonna put a hole in that real quick because I forgot to give a shout out to Barry Palmquist. He's my account executive. I couldn't do it without it. He helps all of our loan officers and keeps them organized and shows them the right way. And I want to make sure he gets a plug on here.
Awesome.
I wouldn't be doing him justice if I didn't. So, what is that word of encouragement? Well, let me tell you something. This is a different market. The key thing is that you have to learn how to pivot and adjust, and you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to be held accountable to certain things. You know, if you're like me and I need to make a change, joining the MMA is probably the first thing that I'm going to recommend. And the reason is because you really do have a daily success plan that will teach loan officers how to find success in every market, in every single market. But my words of encouragement are: there's agents out there that are doing business. You need to learn how to find them.
Right.
Richard's qualified list. That's the way to find the right agents. You need to make sure you're calling the right agents, the ones that are still doing business, because you can make a lot of phone calls and get in touch with agents that say, I'm struggling, and they
Yeah.
are. And then you start to get discouraged because that's all you hear is that they're struggling. But when you're calling the right agents, that's not necessarily the case. Now, some people go, well, how do I get the courage to call the right agents? Designed conversations. You guys provide those. You'll provide them with the design conversation on how to start that conversation. And it's easy. It's so simple, right? It's so simple. Richard, I've seen your numbers, brother. You're doing amazing things. I love to surround myself with amazing people like you. Can I get 15 minutes of time with you? We've had guys that try to reinvent it. And if you go back and listen to Carl's podcast with Andrew Beyer and myself, you'll hear him say, I tried to do it the other way. It didn't work. I had to go back and go, and he's having amazing success. Here's a guy
Yeah.
with no agents in November that closed 14 loans last month, and he'll close 14 loans again here in August. So follow a process, get a list, follow a process, immerse yourself in the marketing animals, and you will find that success, guys. It's out there.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. Man, it has been awesome having you on, brother.
Well, I appreciate you having me here. And if I ever start talking too much, just say, Devin,
Oh,
can I
no.
have a couple words?
No, it's good stuff, man. Really, really good. So yeah, I appreciate you. Again, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, just go to your site. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great week.
We'll see you then, guys. Take care.
Thanks, brother.